Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is BRAMstrology, where you are now taking steps to becoming your rare, authentically mastered self using the language of the stars. My name is Brandon, and today we're going to be doing a video on Miss Tori Kelly. So, Tori Kelly has been an artist, a beautiful, angelic soul that I have been following and I have been interacting with for quite some time. Here's a photo from me at her concert, and another photo for me at her concert. So I have gone to see her as many times as I could. She is very, very influential to myself. I really enjoy her music. I really enjoy her as a person. Obviously, if I've seen her this many times, she's one of my biggest influences in my own like musical influences. I love her music. Every single energy that it brings up. Every concert I've gone to has been phenomenal. And her energy is just beyond soft and amazing. So I've actually looked at this chart quite often throughout all the times that I've actually seen her in concert, when it was like, what, 2014, 2015, all those different things. I've looked at this chart pretty often, so I know it pretty well. So this is gonna be a chart I'm gonna really talk about kind of a little bit, just because I have some main points that I really want to talk about. I have those listed in the description box below, so you can definitely check those things out there. I'm going to be doing also a little bit of predictive work too, in relation to her, just because of the timing of this video is closely linked with her exact Saturn return. So I'm going to talk about those upcoming transits for her, and that'll also be linked in the description box below. Also, if you guys are interested, obviously, in any sort of reading with me or any sort of questions with that, I have all those things linked in the description box below. Look at that. Wow, repetitive. We love that. Okay, so let's pull up her planetary positions here now. So those are those. You can read. We love that. So, so the first one is obviously the Sun in Sagittarius. We know that. She has her Moon in Leo, Mercury in Sagittarius, Venus in Aquarius, Mars retrograde in Cancer, Jupiter in Libra, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus and Neptune conjunct in Capricorn, and Pluto in Scorpio. And then she also has her North Node in Sagittarius, and then her Ascendant at 15 degrees of Taurus, and her midheaven at 29 degrees. Those are the planetary positions, right? So those are what she has if you guys want to read that. So her big three are Sagittarius Sun, Leo Moon, and Taurus Rising. So she has a lot of fiery energy, right? Any sort of when you have the Sun and Moon in complementary energies, they're going to work really well together, right? No matter really what it is. And her Sun or Moon are naturally trine, and they really support each other, because that Sagittarius energy, that get up and go and explore and experience life, really supports her emotional nature. And Leo Moons, a lot of Leo Moons, I'll be doing a video later on specifically like Jessie J, who also has a Leo Moon. She's an Aries Sun with a Leo Moon. I find that a lot of people that have either a Leo Moon with another fire sign, or even maybe air as well, they become pretty artistic really quick, and they find that that's their way that they can really get things done, because the moon is what you need to emotionally sustain yourself and emotionally fulfill yourself, so you can reach those solar things. And with the Sun in Sagittarius, it's her wanting to go and explore, and her wanting to go and, you know, really just have experiences, right? To follow her beliefs, to figure out the world, to figure out what the truth is, right? To figure out what really is the bigger purpose, the bigger reason of life, and really understand religion, understand philosophy, understand purpose, right? It's not just about always about experiencing things. It's about having a purpose with that. And she makes that very evident in so many of her songs, and especially obviously in all of the gospel music and all of the influences in that nature as well, that are prevalent in all the things that she does. So that's the Sun and Moon combination that she has. As it relates to the Taurus Ascendant, Taurus Ascendants are very beautiful. They have so much really going for them a lot of the time, mainly because Venus is the planet of beauty. It's the planet of how you bring things in. And whenever you have Venus pretty heavily aspected in your chart, or heavily put together in your chart, which she has really well, there is a energy of a lot of abundance coming to you, because Venus is a lot of things coming to you. And so the thing is with this, when you are very Venusian, because Venus is the planet of receiving, and how you bring things and manifest things into your life, as well as Jupiter. Jupiter is also the end of that too. And with her having Venus and Jupiter in a really nice supportive trine, these manifestations are coming very quickly for her. So I think what happens, and with the Sun North Node, there's a lot of, the more she expresses herself, the more people want her to express herself, right? Because expressing herself is her way of fulfilling her purpose when the Sun and North Node are together. And so with all this Venus energy, it's, what I'm getting is there was a lot of stuff that came to her, that just came to her, as if like, she didn't really, not necessarily didn't want it, but it just kept coming. It just kept kind of naturally coming and naturally unfolding. And the Venus energy is so receptive and open to new experiences, as well as Sagittarius, right? So they're gonna go really, really well. As it relates to those big three, the Sun and the Moon and the Ascendant, they play really, really well into one another. There is a natural square between the Moon and the Ascendant, which is going to cause a little bit of a friction in the sense of like what you want, or how you go after what you want versus what you feel you need. So let's first talk about the Sun North Node, which I kind of briefly spoke about. So the North Node is where you go to fulfill your purpose. So with the North Node being conjunct any major planet, but especially the Sun, the more you utilize that planet, the more you step into that planet, the more the universe is going to ask you to do that. The more it's going to want you to fulfill that planet. And when it's the Sun, when it's your like your wants, your identity to a degree, your soul, that sort of stuff, the universe wants that. The universe wants you to express who you are. That solar energy is really just like, show the world who you are, show the world what you are, be 100% you. And with that North Node there, it's almost like she wasn't super entirely comfortable with that all the time, because I think a lot of it, because that South Node is in the second house, which also, by the way, she's going through her nodal return, or nodal opposition right now, so we'll talk about that in the transits. But with the South Node being in Gemini, it's almost like she had a lot of information to process. She had a lot of things and a lot of people that were trying to tell her different things. People in her sort of influencing her in a sense, or trying to get her to say different things or do different things. But at the end of the day, with the North Node being the Sun in Sagittarius, it's like, no, babe, like go find your truth. Don't listen to all of the gossip or all of the noise, right? That's very South Node Gemini. All the noise is not going to get you to fulfill your destiny, fulfill your purpose, fulfill you to have a higher purpose in life, right? And currently, we're going through this opposition, which is really testing her to really, really discern those things that people are saying to her or whatnot. And we're going through that collectively. But for her, it's like, don't allow herself, or she shouldn't allow herself to really let those voices and let what people say or have talked about her or whatever it may be affect her where she wants to go in life. Because she's going to do amazing things. She already has done amazing things, obviously, but she's meant to be a very pivotal person. And with that Sagittarius energy too, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, she already kind of did it with the gospel album and like that, and like that whole thing, which I loved, by the way. If you haven't done it, I link to her everything down in the description box. But I wouldn't be surprised genuinely if she would become like an actual like preacher, like not just a musician, but actually like a preacher or like something of that sort, speaking in a sense. There's this artistic quality to her, but there's a need to speak as well, and speak about faith and speak about those things and speak about what she's learned in a way that is so beautiful and is able to really teach people that there is hope and there is positivity, which I think is why so many people resonate with her music. I know I do, as well as just who she is as a person. So anyway, that's the Sun North Node. That's what she really has to fulfill her purpose, fulfill her destiny, is just continue doing what she's doing. You know, keep shining, sis. You know, keep doing you. That's really what's gonna keep you going to where you need to go. As for the next one, so I guess I'll talk about this Mercury that we got going on, this Mercury in Sagittarius. So her Mercury in Sagittarius is this very, very powerful energy. It's very heavily aspected. What that means is there's a lot of planets kind of looking at it, kind of pointing at it to be like, hey, you gonna do something? You gonna talk? You gonna do this, right? It's a lot of energy pressuring her mind, pressuring her thoughts. And Mercury doesn't function that well in Sagittarius. So with Mercury in Sagittarius, it's going to be a little bit difficult to speak things sometimes. And Mercury in either Sagittarius or Pisces, it needs to have some sort of energetic way of speaking, or like even artistic. And obviously shows up through music, we've seen that, but it can also be through poetry, through anything that has more of an energetic to it, that isn't really that's more faith-based, that's more energetic-based, that's more bigger than just like little details and things, if that makes any sense. But anywho, so with her Mercury in Sag, that's already a planet of people are going to hear what you say, because Sagittarius energy just does that. Mercury in Sagittarius especially, people will just hear you, like your voice carries, it's loud, it's strong, it's amazing, right? And a lot of things, when you do speak, it is lucky, and you're able to kind of really speak anything into existence, literally, and manifest really, really easily. As for the other aspect of that, is the Mercury is also conjunct Pluto, which means even more so heavy power and heavy strength with her speaking ability and what she hears. Everyone that has a Mercury Jupiter or Mercury Pluto energy, which she has both, your voice will carry, your voice will be heard, especially Mercury Pluto. Mercury Pluto is more penetrative. Mercury Sagittarius. Jupiter is more fun, enjoyable, expansive. Think publishing, think rapid growth, right? Because Jupiter is growth. Pluto is more like it hits you to your core, right? So that's why a lot of her music is very emotional, it's very impactful, it's very beautiful. But people are meant to hear it, people are meant to be inspired by it, people are meant to connect to it. The Mercury is also, the thing about it that really interests me about her Mercury is the connection it has to the moon. So we're going to talk about the moon Chiron now. So her moon in Leo. So her moon in Leo is conjunct Chiron. This moon that she has going on is what I keep kind of coming back to within her chart, because it's a very, it's a beautiful moon. It's really what has, as I said earlier, with the moon in Leo, I think that's what a lot of people with moon in Leo, that's how they become celebrities, that's how they become artists, is because that's what they emotionally need. They emotionally need to be creative. They emotionally need to let that inner child out and live their joy, right? And it's such a beautiful energy to have moon in Leo. However, her moon in Leo, it has a pretty tight conjunction to Chiron and a square to both Pluto and Mercury, which is what I spoke about just before this. So with the moon square Mercury, there's going to be a difficulty in herself being able to communicate what she wants, being able to communicate how she's feeling. And once again, there's this repeating theme that I feel with her chart, where there's these people, because Mercury is once again in a house of relationships with the 7th, of people telling her how she's supposed to feel. People telling her who she's supposed to be, what she's supposed to say, what she's feeling, right? And I think with the moon square Mercury, a lot of people that have that placement, they struggle in enunciating how they're feeling or communicating how they're feeling. So they need to really lean into their Mercury more so, honestly. I mean, it's both, but for the most part, especially because her Mercury is so heavily aspected, moving into the Mercury is going to make her make sense of those emotions, make sense of what she's feeling. But there is definitely this theme with her of people telling her what to say and what to do and who to be and what to feel. And the moon square Pluto too, that ain't easy. That's not an easy placement. It's not. The moon square Pluto is a traumatic placement. It's a difficult placement. Her emotions are very, very deep. Her emotions run very deep. And because of that, there's a lot of power in what she does, in what she says, and what she's feeling. But also there's an emotional sort of disconnect or abandonment from her own emotions, but also it comes rooted from like, you know, ancestry, from like way back, you know, those sorts of things. So I don't want to get too deep into her own personal things, but there is some family stuff going on, because this moon and Mars in Cancer thing, which I'll get to in a second. There's a lot of like family stuff going on. People think that, you know, the moon Chiron and these aspects are difficult or negative, but it to me, whenever Chiron especially is very closely connected to a personal planet, it means that utilizing the themes of that personal planet will help you grow and help you get stronger, and it's part of your destiny to heal people through that sort of thing. And because her Chiron is conjunct her moon, the more she connects to that emotional, her emotional self, and does her own emotional work and own emotional healing, the deeper and more she'll be able to give back, and the more she'll be able to provide for people. Because the moon is such a receptive, but also feminine, and also like really soft energy. It's an energy people want to come to, right? And when moon Chiron happens in a chart, especially by conjunction, it means you are meant to heal. You are meant to be a healer. However, being a healer doesn't come from just being given whatever, like given the life you have. Well, it does, but it has to do with going through struggles and going through being like, I've been through hell emotionally, or I've been through hell in whatever area of life this Chiron's related to. And I've been through hell, and I don't want anyone else to feel that way or go through that or whatever. And so when the moon Chiron, there's this massive healing energy, which to me, that moon Chiron conjunction is really honestly what kind of symbolizes this angelic quality that she has, this angelic healer energy that she has, because the moon is so personal to us, and so personal to our souls, and so connected to us as like souls and humans and stuff, that when Chiron's there, it's like, okay, sis, you're gonna be like really like beautifully healed. You're gonna be in pain. There's gonna be some pain, right? But you're gonna find a way out of it. And for her, it really was that career and those sort of the Leo things. So she has balanced and worked through this chart very well. But yeah, that's the moon Chiron. We're gonna talk about since we're still on the kind of topic, we're gonna talk about the Mars retrograde in Cancer. So the Mars retrograde in Cancer, I kind of hinted at it a second ago, in the moon Chiron portion. But the Mars retrograde in Cancer that she has is an energy of, Mars does not like to be in Cancer. Okay, Mars is the energy of fighting. Mars is the energy of go and getting what you want, right? Whereas Venus is how you attract what you want. Mars is how you pursue what you want. And Mars in Cancer is going to need to pursue based off of how it's feeling and if it's feeling safe, right? There's a necessity for Mars in Cancer, and Cancer energy in general, but especially Mars in Cancer, needs to be emotionally safe and feel emotionally safe in their environment to go to take action, to feel like they can go after what they want. And that's the thing that I think is really interesting, is there is this energy of her, like I said, where there's a lot of attraction of getting what she wants, but it's this Mars in Cancer that a lot of these things, there's some things I keep getting hinted at in this chart, and this Mars in Cancer it's right on the IC. So that once again hints at this like very interesting family life that I had mentioned in the moon Chiron, something with family upbringing in that way. Mars on the IC can also be a very inspiring family, a very motivating family. However, with it being Cancer and with it being retrograde, there might have been some doubts from the family for her to pursue what she is doing, or specifically from her mother or maternal figures in her life. I'm really interested in her relationship with like the feminine archetype, and just in general like women and maternal figures, because there is this like repeating theme of some sort of potential difficulty with that. And once again, I'm not saying any of this is like entirely factual. It's just really what I'm looking at when I look at her chart. So that's the Mars there, and Mars in Cancer. I mean, I'm gonna do a video on it before. I have some videos on my channel. You can check that out there. But the Mars in Cancer energy, it doesn't really know when to pursue things. And that's also true for Mars retrograde. That's true for any retrograde planet. But the thing about retrograde planets too, the thing that's nice about this, about Mars retrograde in Cancer, Mars in Cancer will only act when it feels safe, right? Will only act when it feels safe, when it feels like it is, you know, in its nice little shell and it feels ready to be out in the world, right? Because Mars is typically really well positioned in Capricorn. That's all about career, right? Which is what she has a lot of success in. But it's the Mars in Cancer that's like, okay, I want to be at home. I want to have like a home life. I want to be like me and like alone, right? I want to like recoup and recover. So there is this like very, very private life with that. But then also Mars retrograde only allows you to take action when like it really has you really think about the actions you're taking really, really hard. Mars Cancer does that too. Mars Cancer needs you to feel safe. Mars retrograde needs you to really think and understand and know that what you're doing is right. Because Mars retrograde is something that it's rare. It's really rare to have a Mars retrograde, just so you know. It only happens a couple percentage, like very small percentage of the time in the grand scheme of things. And a Mars retrograde is in Cancer is also really rare. And so there's this energy of a delay in her actions, obviously. So I needing to re-understand and yeah, there's this like energy around like her not like acting or not wanting to do, like, I'm not saying she doesn't want to do what she's doing, but there's like some pressure from some force or something. It seems like the pressure from her is to like emotionally heal herself and emotionally get through what she needs to get through to do that. And I think I don't think she expected it to get where it got to. Maybe she did. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all here to learn and grow and expand, and she definitely signed up for a life of rapid expansion with the North Node conjunction of the Sun. But this Mars in Cancer, there's this repeating energy of like people around her not like getting in her ear or trying to influence her to make decisions, but she is very in tune with her feelings because she's been hurt before, because she's done things before that may have hurt people too, in the sense of like she may have started a project and like she's like really sensitive. She's really sensitive, and I can feel it. The more I'm sitting with this chart now, I can feel it, and she's sensitive. And as much as we see all this public North Node Sun conjunction, right, and this really successful Capricorn energy, right, this great Capricorn midheaven, she's like really soft. And I think and I know from meeting her that she's like that in person. She's really soft. She's really, really approachable. She's really, really nice. But there's this energy of people wanting to control her and wanting to kind of dictate what she does or what she says or how she acts, which I guess leads me to my next point, which is the Pluto in the 7th house. So Pluto in the 7th house is another energy of being taken advantage of, in a sense. So Pluto in the 7th house, let's talk about the positive and negative manifestations of it. So Pluto in the 7th house is going to be an energy of disempowerment and empowerment, but on a massive scale with relationships and with partnerships and with people. The 7th house rules one-on-one people, so any person you're talking to one-on-one. So if you and I were talking one-on-one through the phone even, or one-on-one partnership that we have, any one-on-one relationship is related to the 7th house. And any planets there are going to show you the themes of that 7th house and what specifically is going on with that. And with having a Scorpionic 7th house, just having Scorpio in general, not necessarily having Scorpio Pluto there, but having Scorpio 7th house, so any Taurus risings, or even Taurus suns as well can have this manifestation. You will have a theme of really, really, really transformative relationships. really. Ones that are obsessive, ones that are almost stalker-ish. I wouldn't be surprised if she has many, many stalkers, because 7th house Pluto is very stalker-ish. And yeah, there's a lot of fear with that. There's a lot of fear surrounding a 7th house Pluto person, because there's something with this where there's a very some sort of darkness in the relationships. And what I mean by that is there's some sort of relationship themes that have happened before, or that may still be happening, but probably happened before, because last time I checked and everything, she's happily married and she has a very happy relationship. But there is, when Pluto's in 7th house, it can manifest as very being connected with very manipulative people on the negative side, because Pluto has different manifestations. It's going to have the manifestation of darkness, of like addictions, of stalkers, of, you know, just throwing out little like off the cuff words here, stalkers, you know, obsessions, people that have addiction problems, people that have that come to her like begging for like just begging for her, you know, almost giving their power away to her. And also on the other side of it too, it can, on the more negative side, it can manifest as a very dark, very abusive relationship, or a very dark relationship where the person with the Pluto in the 7th house gives their power away to that person. So they could have a very powerful partner, not just in who they like marry, but through the course of their life, they could be connected with very, very powerful people that are very impactful and that have really created the native, which is Tori Kelly in this case, created the native a sense of empowerment. So they find empowerment through their partnerships and their strength. And so this Pluto 7th house, it has this theme of like really just like being, it's concerning, sis. It's very concerning. Let's just put it that way. It's concerning. Like I said, there's things that I look at this and I'm like, okay. And the more I sit with this, I'm concerned for the things that are going on more of the private side. Because Scorpio as well in the 7th house, if Scorpio was in the midheaven, that'd be a whole different story. But Scorpio in the 7th house, although it is like a public house technically, it is also the house of like Scorpio is the most private sign, if not the most private sign. Like 100%. Like it's so private. So there's a secrecy around Scorpionic energy. There's things that are hidden with Scorpionic energy, and Scorpionic energy likes to be hidden. Excuse me. It likes to be hidden. It doesn't like to be seen all the time. So there's that like energy of something with that going on. And we'll talk about the transits in a second, because there's some interesting transits coming up for her as that relates to that. But there's some like disempowerment versus empowerment struggle with relationships. The Pluto is also, once again, I already said this, squaring her moon, squaring her Chiron, which means because Chiron is also squaring Pluto, there is gonna be, wow, that's a Chiron Pluto aspect is extremely transformative. That's even more so, girl. So going through her emotional processing, it's funny, because what I think this is like her music is her way of emotionally processing what she's went through and what she's going through in her life, and being in the industry and all the things that she has in her life. Like, I don't know her life story. Like I said, I met her a couple times, but I don't know everything about her. And even this, I'm just looking at the chart and talking about what I'm seeing. But what it looks like to me is there's this energy of her just processing her emotions through what she needs to do, and people are like, oh my god, we love that, keep doing it. And it's like it's almost like she's just trying to heal. She's just really just genuinely trying to heal what she's gone through and who she is, and really connect to who she truly is. Like, I think she's really trying to find herself. I mean, she's already found herself, but I think it's really about emotionally regulating herself and dealing with those deep, intense feelings and the intense life that she's kind of signed up for, as you would say, in the sense of the choice of the astrological birth chart. And it's just really interesting, because the more I look at it, the more I'm like, wow. But yeah, that's the Pluto in the 7th house energy. Yeah, and I could talk about a lot of these for a lot longer. If you guys are interested specifically in specific aspects that I talk about in this video, feel free to comment down below. And also, if you want to like tag Tori Kelly, that'd be dope. Just saying, like, send it out to her, that'd be awesome. But anywho, so that's the Pluto there. The next one I'm going to talk about is Saturn. So we're gonna talk about Saturn next. So Saturn is kind of where all of this really comes together, because Saturn, she has a Saturn in Aquarius, which I also do. We are currently in the Saturn Aquarius age. Saturn is currently in Aquarius at the time of recording this. Saturn is currently at, I want to say, around it's 7 degrees retrograde at the time of recording this. So that's actually interesting, because that's actually right on top of her Venus. So we'll talk about the transits in a second when I get there. But as I was saying, she has Saturn in Aquarius, which, as we've all seen throughout the course of this transit, or maybe we haven't seen, maybe it's just awareness to me because I have Saturn in Aquarius as well. But with Saturn in Aquarius, it is an energy of being unique, being different, being a weirdo, and being okay with being a weirdo. You know, that's just Aquarian energy in general. But Saturn there wants you to stabilize that. Saturn wants you to be strong, stable in being weird, and being accepted for all of the parts that you are, and not being shunned for being weird anymore, right? And I think there's this thing with Saturn and Aquarius energy where you want to be something. You almost have these labels put on you throughout the course of your life, right? Because Aquarius is very it's like the sign of identification and labels, and what the group tells you are. And that's why this is kind of all coming together the more I sit with this chart and talk it out. But with the Saturn and Aquarius, it has this, people tell you who you are, right? Throughout the course of your life, people put labels on you, all these things. But Saturn and Aquarius energy in general, but definitely Saturn Aquarius, and since we're going through the Saturn Aquarius transit, we all want to break apart from those labels. We want to find who we truly are, right? Who we truly are, what groups we really belong to, who we associate with, who we affiliate with, what we really want out of life, right? We're really understanding those labels that people put on us before are not who we are today. The labels that we put on ourselves are who we want to be and who we've always wanted to be. And a lot of people with Saturn Aquarius have these labels that they haven't ever really explored. Saturn Aquarius is kind of where all of this stuff kind of comes together with her. So Saturn Aquarius is all about this energy of being true to who you are and not letting the group define you, right? And there's this energy of wanting to break out of the box, wanting to be someone new, wanting to be something different. And she has this very, very angelic, obviously, personality and angelic sort of vibe with her. And with Saturn and Aquarius, there's this energy around her where people are just, especially with the Saturn Aquarius opposite the moon. Yeah, this girl has so many people telling her who she is. So many people, like, it's ridiculous. Even an astrologer, hello, hi, astrologer telling you who you are. You know what I mean? But there's so many people telling you who you are, in this sense. Groups, affiliations, the internet, right? Your family, your partnerships, which may not be the best influence on you all the time. It looks like they kind of are, but it's interesting because like I said in the beginning of this video, all of your planets from the 7th house, which are all about other people. They're all about like everyone else. Like if you see, all of her stuff's pretty much on like the 6th through the 10th. I mean, we have like the Cancer Mars, we have the Moon in Leo, we have all that stuff. But for the most part, there's nothing really on like the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, or the 11th or 12th. So it's really, really interesting in that sense. But with her having Jupiter in Libra too, I didn't really talk about that in this, but with her having Jupiter in Libra, the relationships are going to be a beneficial thing. So I think that is definitely helping a little bit more of the Pluto in Scorpio energy that I was talking about, and the Scorpionic 7th house, because Jupiter in Libra definitely helps her have that sort of impact and have luck through relationships, because that is eventually what is going to be her biggest blessing, is the people that she hangs out with. But it's a matter of discerning those people. Really, there's a lot of learning to discern with who you affiliate with and who you associate with, not just on a one-on-one basis, but also in a group basis. Yeah, there's a lot. I feel like with her, there's this energy of almost the only one she can rely, well, maybe not the only one she can rely on, but it's kind of like every single area has a little bit of an impact. Like the family, like I said, there's some family stuff going on. I can feel it, but I can't really place it. And then obviously there's the relationships, the one-on-one, which has a lot of distrust. And then there's the Saturn Aquarius, which is like the internet and all the people in groups telling her who she is. South and Gemini, you know, the gossip and people that are like talking, like lots of people talking in her ear and stuff, and her being influenced by that. But it's really about her finding her own truth, right? And with the Saturn Aquarius, like I said, it is this energy of her really being almost influenced up until the Saturn return, which she hasn't exactly hit yet. But up until the Saturn return, there's a lot of influence from associations and from friend groups and things. And with all of us in Saturn Aquarius right now, we are all learning the importance of real friendships and who to really keep close to us and who to keep around us that really help us reach our goals and help us figure out and feel like ourselves. Because right now we're all wondering who we are, right? And us with Saturn Aquarius, we know who we've wanted to be for a long time. We wanted to come out. We wanted to, be who we really truly feel we are deep down. But so many people are telling us we're this, we're that, we're this, we're that, right? But at the end of the day, we have to listen to ourselves in what we truly, really are, because that is really how we're going to get through the Saturn Aquarius transit. So that's all of the little natal sort of explanations I want to talk about. The last thing too that I'm going to briefly mention is the Saturn is also squaring her ascendant. So there's this, there's a lot of things coming through about her not being able to really express who she feels she is all the way. Like I said, there's this emotional thing with her where she's just healing, guys. She just came down to heal us, to heal you, to heal herself, right? We all came down here to heal, right, at the end of the day. But she's healing herself through all of this. And with the Saturn return right now that she's about to hit the exact conjunction soon, it's really gonna kick off. And the rest of it's gonna be up until March of 2023 is when really things are gonna really solidify for her, as well as all the other Saturn Aquarius individuals, myself included. So yeah, that's just kind of her little analysis there. I didn't want to dig too deep into it, just because I didn't want to get too much, because there is some privacy that obviously I need to abide by. Overall, Tori Kelly, first of all, I don't know why I said government name, Tori. If you're watching this, listening to this, or maybe if somehow got to you, whatever you're doing that is making you feel purposeful is what you need to keep doing. Like I said, in the course of this video, I don't know how much you've watched, but if you're in the course of this video, it is extremely important for you to listen to your own truth and for you to not allow other people to influence you in the way they have, and also obviously surround yourself with really positive people. And granted, I obviously don't know her life like that. I don't know anything to that degree, but it's very, very, she has a lot going on, and I hope, like I said, I kind of hope she finds this video, then I kind of don't, because I did hit on some kind of sensitive topics, but I do know that she is healing. Like the biggest part I get, like I said, is this moon Chiron, moon square Pluto, that is really just her healing process, and that's how she's doing what she's doing, and that's how she's getting the success she has, is because she's healing those wounds through those big things, right? And Saturn Aquarius also rules groups and things, so she's having this like very collective healing, because us with Aquarius placements, we have a lot of collective healing to give everyone. It's the water bearer. It's the one that gives water to everyone else and provides for other people through a sense of groups, right? So overall, like I said, she's a beautiful soul, as I've said many times, and obviously I've met her many times, and her impact is still impactful to me many, many years later, and I know many people out there feel the same way, and I'm very, very appreciative of her, very appreciative of this chart. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing the predictive work. So let's move on to the predictive work. Now we're gonna do some predictive work. So the main one I wanted to really talk about for her is her Saturn return, and the date for that. She has some interesting transits. I really just wanted to do the exact date for her Saturn return, and just kind of what I feel is going to happen for that, as well as some other sort of transits. So her exact Saturn return is January 25th of 2022. Some people, some astrologers may be fearful of Saturn returns. They may be like, oh my gosh, it's so terrible. And yes, I am going through my Saturn return. I will say, yes, it is difficult. It is hard. It is something that is transformative, but it's something that you've wanted for a long time. And Saturn has put you through tests. And when you have your Saturn return or start your Saturn return, it is really a time of really solidifying who you are and who you want to be for the next cycle of Saturn, which lasts 30 years. So it's really an accumulation of all of the karma that you've done over the past 30 years, and really crystallization of that. So there's a lot of energy around that she's approaching. I mean, she's already in her Saturn return technically, but the exact conjunction will not be I guess the peak of it will not be until that January 25th date of 2022. So right with that, what I'm thinking is it's gonna impact quite a lot of things for her, just because in Placidus she has a duplication of Capricorn, which rules both the 8th house and 9th house. I'm sorry, the 9th house and 10th house, and then she has Aquarius ruling her 11th house. And so Saturn naturally is going to rule 3 houses in that regard. So that means 3 areas of life are going to be impacted for her during her Saturn return. So because of that, with Saturn being so public for her and her having a Capricorn midheaven, there's this energy of like something public. I don't know what it is, but because she has such Saturnian energy up there in the sky, like in the midheaven, I mean, there is some public sort of coming out as different, kind of coming out. That didn't make sense, but it made sense. Like there's a energy of really a public change of image. That's what I'm getting. Like there's like a public change of image, the public change of being like kind of, I guess, truer to who she felt that she was before, or those identities or labels that she kind of threw off of herself by other people's influence. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. And then also the Venus in Aquarius too, right now, currently at the time of recording this, at what date is today, the 27th of September, there is a almost exact conjunction of Saturn on top of her Venus, which means there is a very, very stabilizing energy for her in her relationships, for her identity and things, and a lot of things. Yeah, she's solidifying her routine, what she wants to do in her life. She's solidifying the person she values herself to be, the values that she had that she might have, once again with the Aquarius energy, might have thrown away, right? Aquarius energy is like stuff that you're like, oh no, I don't feel like I'm weird, I'm not cool enough to be, this label, right? Or I'm not there enough to be this label. But the Venus in Aquarius is so quirky and like so weird, and so I think there's I think she just wants to be different and unique and be really show that out. I really think that's what's going to happen. But there's a stabilization for her. But the thing is, with that stabilization, it is not going to it is gonna be tested throughout the course of the next couple months up until this exact Saturn return in 2022 in January, late January, because Saturn is currently on top of her Venus, which is great. It's stabilizing some things. It's really testing her in her values and what she really wants out of life. And then Saturn is going to move, it goes direct in a couple weeks from now. So it's actually going to hit back on that Venus again. So then it's going to really crystallize some things. But then it's going to square her, square her. Okay, so it's gonna trine her Jupiter first, which is helpful and supportive. So when it hits 11 degrees of Aquarius, it's gonna trine her Jupiter, which is really supportive for her being able to move up into things. Also, when that 11-degree mark hits, it's gonna approach her exact Saturn return. So it's interesting because the 14 degree of Saturn in Aquarius is something that we haven't really gotten to yet, because Saturn went retrograde right at 14 degrees. So what I'm thinking, if it's anything indicative of what I've seen at that time, something kind of almost happened, right? Almost like broke. And then Saturn retrograded from that point and was like, okay, here's your time to fix that. So there was almost some sort of crisis. There was almost some sort of thing or some sort of breaking, or even on the more positive side, it could be almost some sort of like really big project or really big stepping out into a whole different way of life. And it was kind of like retracted in the sense of like, let's take some more time to reassess this, right? So that's kind of what I'm feeling with that. But anywho, so there's going to be this really nice trine from Saturn to Jupiter, which is really supportive. And then it's going to then it's going to hit the exact Saturn return, which is, once again, like I said, January 25th. And that is going to be big for her. Yeah, it's going to be big. It's going to be a peak, because obviously the Saturn return for any person is a peak of their experience, of their life, of their karma. So it's going to be interesting. Because of how much Capricorn energy she does have, and with that Capricorn 29-degree midheaven, I predict something publicly, some sort of public coming out as different of what they were doing before. And also, with the Saturn, it's almost exactly squaring to her ascendant and descendant point. So that's even more indicative of really coming out as a whole new identity, because that Saturn squares the ascendant, and because it squares the ascendant, it also squares the descendant. So there's going to be a new level of relating that, like I said, she may have put it off, or it may have been put off, or something. But there is gonna, when she does come out as whatever is going to be coming out, whether it's publicly or not. I mean, I don't know if it's going to really be public. It might just be another tour. I mean, hell, like, do it. If you're in a tour again, do it. I mean, I'm down for it. Do like a virtual tour, do something. You know, I miss you. I miss her music. But, yeah, so it's this energy of, there's a big change for her happening. Let's just put it that way. There's so much stuff for me to try and verbalize with this. But yeah, the Saturn square the ascendant is really, really, Saturn return squaring the ascendant is really big, because that means that a lot of that's going to shift moving forward. And at that point, because with the internet now, whenever you put something out there, it's out there forever. And I think that's something that we're all learning with Saturn and Aquarius, as well as us Saturn Aquarius natives know that. So it's really a matter of really being discerning on those things that you do put out there, because once you do it, you can't take it back. So yeah, but it's an identity, like Saturn Aquarius, generally I feel like is just in two words, like identity crisis, like genuinely, but also something where it's really a matter of by really stepping into your fullest identity and your fullest form, you are then giving others permission to do the same. And she's done that through many of the things that she's already done through just her natural healing process, through whatever emotional things she's gone through in her past. But that is definitely what's going to happen there. Also, prior to that, there is going to be an eclipse point. She's having her eclipse opposition right around, well, she actually had it around like June, around May or June of this year of 2021. But there'll be another eclipse around Thanksgiving, and then the first week of December, actually right around her birthday, I want to say, yeah, like a couple of days before her birthday, she'll be having an eclipse on that point. So I can anticipate something on her birthday, but eclipses are really hard to predict the energy of what happens, especially an eclipse like that's an opposition for her. Yeah, I'm interested into what's going to happen, because I think I can feel out some potential predictions, but it has to be more on the side of like potentially political things, which I wouldn't feel obligated to talk about or feel comfortable to talk about. But overall, I mean, that's the biggest transit that she has, and like I said, it hasn't peaked yet. Also, too, once Saturn does square, she has her exact Saturn return, 14 degrees, it's going to square that, like I said, the ascendant descendant, and then it's going to, yeah, this Saturn girl, she's going to have a rough, not a rough 2022, but that's going to be the real year for her. Yeah, that's going to be the real year for her. Yeah, because too, yeah, there's something coming up for her, but there's a energy of breaking free of a lot of things, because like breaking free of the contracts that we've signed, breaking free of the power we've let others have over us. That's what really is happening with this. And yeah, and it's really what is gonna take her to the next level, take all of us to the next level. And the Saturn, so anyway, so as I was saying, this Saturn in Aquarius is going to eventually square her Pluto, which is also going to be right around the time that the node, there's this energy of moving her towards her identity, towards who she wants to be, towards a different sense of values. That's really what it is. It's moving towards this new sense of values too, because Uranus is also currently like kind of dancing around her ascendant. So there's this like really need for her to really pop out and be entirely unique and different. Weird thing that just came to me, but like maybe like shaved head sort of vibe. I don't know, like that's why that just came up. This is more of an intuitive thing. But yeah, and Uranus is kind of popping around that stuff too, and it's probably gonna, this is gonna be an interesting time. And the North Node is gonna start going through her first house, or in her first house technically. So yeah, there's this energy of her really wanting to move towards this sense of identity, this sense of who she wants to be, finding, like, having her own direction. I think a lot of the direction was predicated off of those around her and pushed by those around her. And there's really this kind of being a free agent, essentially. Like, I think she is supposed to be a free agent, supposed to go and be the person that she's wanted to be, that she's held off because of different circumstances. So that's that. Obviously her birthday's coming up, so happy solar return. That's exciting. Mercury is going to retrograde in the next month or so over her Jupiter, which is going to be interesting. I'm not going to get into like the moons and stuff, lunations, because those are way more personal for her. But overall, this is a really interesting time for her. I'm really interested to see where this goes for her. Yeah, she has a lot of things going on that I'm really looking forward to, and it was honestly one of the best things to meet her, and I'm so grateful to have met her, because she really, honestly, she helped me a lot. She's helped all of us a lot, and I'm very appreciative of her and grateful for her. and I really hope that she gets through this, what she's going through. I hope we all do, you know, not to get kind of morbid, but it's a difficult time we're living in, and it's difficult especially for us Saturn Aquarius people, because we are needing to stabilize during all this chaos. Be the ones that really stabilize and really get through this, despite everything else that's going on. So it's a really difficult sort of energy, and I can only imagine how it's going to be with Saturn and Pisces. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to see where things go with her, as well as with a collective that we got going on. Sorry this video is kind of long. I just really love her like a lot. Hence the reason I've wanted to do like a really long reading, like a really in-depth reading for her for a while. And even this is not even super in-depth, because I can obviously go deeper, but I'm not going deeper because of privacy and because of not wanting to act like I'm actually reading her, because that's not right. But I'm interested to see if any of this does resonate with her or with any of her fan base that has seen this. So if you guys are interested in that, or like think about like if this resonates with you and what you think of her, feel free to put that down below. I'm interested in your guys' comments, what you guys think, because that was really honestly her, and like I said, I've loved her forever, and she's great, and I've seen this chart so many times, and I've wanted to really read it, and I'm really happy I did today. So yeah, so thank you, Tori Kelly. Thank you for being born December 14th of 92. It's great, you know, Saturn Aquarius energy. So yeah, so that's my video, guys. I hope you guys like this. Hope all of you enjoyed this. I appreciate all of you. If you guys are interested, obviously, in reading with me, feel free to look in the stuff down below. I have all the stuff down there, all my socials, all my things. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing evening or day, night, whatever it may be. I'll speak to you guys soon. I love you.